Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up the telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. Politics, religion, socioeconomic issues, any issue trending, we speak about it. So you can give us a call. The number to call is 442-0175. I sat in a discussion yesterday with my partner, John Galt Tilita, and John Galt kept miss. A young girl come up to me and she said she wanted to talk to On Target. She said, I want you to speak about abuse. But before she could open her mouth, John Galt offered a drink. You know, as usual, when you're in the shop, you're very generous. She says she ain't drinking. But we inform her about the rules. You could talk. You could bat on a dry wicket, but you can't talk on a dry throat. So the bartender bring a malt for her. She drink half in it before she opens her mouth again. She tell me her son in the school is being bullied. And some of the boys in the school beat him up. And he's in hospital now. But when she say hospital, she catch the interest of everybody. In the fact that her son is in hospital must be of interest to everyone. She said they always bully her child in school. The child don't even want to go to school again. And the child want to commit suicide. But that is big issue because I'm not a psychologist. But I'm waiting for John Galt to answer because he's very pessimistic. So when I wrong him, I like to listen to his views because he like to give reason, rational explanation for his opinion. And I like that. He turned to her and he said, a few days ago, I'm going on in the night and I saw a woman looking for something under the street light. He said, he asked her what she looking for. She said it's something valuable she lose. And he asked her where she lose it. She said she lose it in her house. He said you lose it in your house and you're looking for it under the street light. The woman tell him there is no light in the house. The house is dark. So she can't look for it under the house. Inside the house, she had to look for what she lose where you have light. And then they turned to me. So I realized the woman come because I opened my mouth on radio. And I say I always express my opinion on any issues. So I have to give her my opinion. I told her that is the problem with the school system. And that is the problem with children that are being bullied in school. When your child is bullied in school, you go to the school. You believe the school could help you. The school can help you. She said she went to the principal. The principal called the police, but the police didn't come. I tell her, well, that's the problem. Your child is being bullied in school, but the school can't help. The principal cannot help. The teacher cannot help. And the police get fed up. If your child being bullied in school, you have to deal with the child. That is a big mistake we're making. More and more today you're hearing about children being bullied in school. The children that are being bullied in school, they get bullied in the job. They get bullied when they get big. They get bullied by the police. And when they get old, the government bully them. I said the problem you have to deal with the child in the house. Prepare the child for the real world. In the real world, people always want to take advantage on the weak. They appear like vultures. She asked me what a vulture is. I tell her a gigi. You know the gigi in the sky, waiting to prey on the chicken that stray away from its mother. As soon as the mother sends the gigi, she sends out an alarm and all the children, all the chicken come under her wings, and she's in the most defensive mood. I tell her, remember the pig. When the pig have young ones, they're more aggressive or defensive than any other time. The dog with pups barking at their own owners. Every mother in the animal kingdom that have young ones tend to be more defensive or aggressive because they want to protect the young one. And maybe that is the problem with bullying in the school. We are not preparing our children to deal with the school. Because the schools have individuals will always prey on the weak. You see, yesterday we had some people with big families. People did not used to make a little bit of children. Mother had 7, 8, 10. Nene and cousin join up. Everybody freed them. Nobody dare challenge this group of children. Or if you come from the same village, you get protection from the village. But in today's society is different. You have one little child or 1.5, and you send them into the school. Sometimes they have money, the other children don't have. They just hold them and take the money. Because they don't know how to defend themselves. They lack confidence in themselves. When your child is 5 years old and your child enters the school and the child don't have confidence in itself, even the educators don't care about them. They say that can make, that no good. You see, you have to be careful. In today's society, they use more sophisticated language. They say your child is not academically inclined. It's the same thing they mean, that can make. And they turn on this kid and your child suffer. So I say, Mommy, you have to fix bullying in your house. You have to prepare your child to defend themselves in their home. You have to strengthen the confidence in the child. I tell her, go and get a shell. Teach your child to blow the shell. Teach your child to play guitar. Spend some time helping the child to improve its vocabulary. Bring the child in karate school. I say, you notice that this government abandoned the karate program in school. Those who have money don't need to use the school to give their children little education in self-defense and discipline. So the government stopped support the program in school. So 45 schools in Grenada had the karate program. I think it's only about 4 schools that have it now because the Minister of Education refused to support it. You see, ma'am, bullying is all about. And don't expect to solve bullying in the school. I said, why you think people can bully teachers? Teachers have a strong union. They are the most educated people in Grenada in a general sense. The most educated people. And they have good unity among themselves. So when they decide they're not teaching you, the government must pay them. Even if the court say don't pay them, the government freed them. So the government going to give them money. But the elderly, ma'am, I said the elderly is bullied too. You see the vulnerable? Who is going to defend the elderly? Who is going to defend the marginalized elderly in our country? Who is going to defend the marginalized, physically challenged? I said, ma'am, nobody is to defend the disadvantaged children. Because our own siblings, our own children who attain higher learning have absconded from the community. They have abandoned the community. So the voice of the elderly the voice of the physically challenged, the voice of the disadvantaged children, ma'am, are more vulnerable today than any other time in our history, post-Erigeri era. You see, somebody must stand up for the voiceless. Otherwise, this present government will continue to act as a vulture and prey on the weak and the unsuspecting. I say, ma'am, you don't see how easy government take out $150 from the elderly and not even some of their own children care. I say, ma'am, the line minister, the minister of social affairs, she come from the estate children. She come from a child of labor. But she have the kind of education now that convince her she must abandon the weak and the helpless. It's the same thing with your child, ma'am. I say you can't blame the system. You can't blame the eagle or the gigi for being a vulture. That's how they get their meal. They stay in the sky and they prey on the weak. If we have selected a government that do not seek the interests of the poor, the marginalized, and the low-income group, what you expect? I say, look, the trade union. Everybody expect the trade union to seek after the members. But in yesteryear, the trade union movement in Grenada used to also defend the members who are not represented. Look at the way the trade union abandoned even workers who in their bargaining unit, but they are not the members. They consider these people paying agency fee. They collect money from them, but they don't concern about them. I say, look at how the government come in power. And within 6 months, over 1,500 workers lost their job. Over 1,500 workers lost their job. Some of them, they don't even pay them. About 300 from Faith Base. The women of Karakou, the women of Paul's, the road wardens, 30 workers from Paradise Estate, 10 from Source Up Control, management, pest management in the Source Up industry, and now 100 from Marketing Board. And you don't hear one trade union raise their arm in public solidarity or in defense of these workers. Say, ma'am, you have to understand, the weak have a lot of power, but you can't operate alone. You have to work together. Otherwise, you will be picked out as when the vultures see prey on the ground. You have to understand that. So going to the school can't help your child. You have to help your kid to develop a sense of confidence in himself. Understand the world is a dangerous place for the weak and the man who do not have confidence in himself. You have to teach your child maybe one of the ways a young boy could have confidence in himself is to develop his skills and talents. I say you have enough money. You don't need plenty money to help him to do self-defense, to help him to improve his talents so he could blow the shell. So when he goes to school and he blow the shell, some of the children that want to bully him will be so amazed. They might want him to teach them to blow the shell. Encourage him to develop his vocabulary. So he's going to attract the teacher with her brilliance, his brilliance. So he will not be easily dismissed. You see, particularly when you have a government that don't know how to empathize that is not compassionate and that has abandoned the disadvantaged in our country and the weak, then he's going to spread more in the schoolhouse. And more children that are vulnerable would be seriously affected. Bullying was always with us in society. When you go to school, children are very provokeful. They give you false name, but you had good support, so you're not of reach to violence. I inform her that in Trinidad today, the Trinidad Trade Union take a decision to advise the teachers not to interfere in conflicts in school. Although 90% of the conflicts in school come to naught, it never ends up in fights or violence because of the presence or influence of a teacher. I say, remember in Grenada a few years ago, teachers was not involved in extracurricular activity. And they plan to go to the school and they talk to children. And they even plan to stay away on lunchtime, hoping the bullies in the school take advantage on the weak and the unsuspecting. How could you surprise in the society when you have a government that comes into power and their first act is to deprive the weakest members of our society, the elderly, the physically challenged, and the disadvantaged children, and to take out money from them? That is the only government in the whole Caribbean, the only political party, the only government in the whole Caribbean I have ever heard that does that. I say, Mom, this is an act of bullying. That is like an eagle preying on the weak. This is an act of like a vulture. And it's the same thing that happened in the school. The government of the day are legitimizing bullying in the school. Because they act like bullies. They know the elderly in the house is weak. Some of them lost their leg. Some of them in their homes. But yet, the government decided to remove some of the caregivers. And they did it in such a bad way. They fired them days before the mountain. They fired them even before they know. They gave him retroactive letters that they were fired. One girl in particular promised to help a man. She said, "Oh, come and help you. Still, till they send somebody else." Now that is the action of your government. What do you expect individuals to do? When people loses a job and some people get a high, they're happy, they're laughing. I say, Mom, that is bullying. Look at what the government of the day do. They change the contractual arrangement that people been working with, the method by which they get their pay. For 30 years, people were doing that. Some of them 5, 17, 30 years. They're getting paid by the month. And government decided to change that method of payment. And government had a 1-hour Zoom consultation for thousands of workers. They unilaterally changed it. And the unions didn't utter one word. Not one word. The unions did not say publicly if they agree with it, if they disagree with it, or even reassure the workers that they would be there with them to deal with the abnormalities and the psychological fallout from such a dramatic change. Not one word from the union. But I say, Mom, how you could surprise? The government paid the union for days they did not work. The court say you didn't have to do it, it's not legal. But the government say it's a good relationship. And John Gall tell me that bribery. He said that is a straight case of bribery. So how do you expect for the school to help you with bullying? I said, ma'am, listen what John Galt tell you. What you lose inside your house, you're looking for it under the traffic light. You could never get it there. You have to go back in your house and address the challenges and the problems of your son. I said, that son you have, when you go to work, they go bully him. And sometimes you might get a woman that bullying him still. So the problem is, you have to prepare to address it in your home. That's one of the challenges we have in our life. You know, that is one of the big challenges. We always have to have a government that sets a positive template. If the government continue to advocate and the government continue to advocate a hostile attitude towards the elderly, towards the physically challenged and the marginalized in this country, it's going to spread to the village. And more, you're going to see people meting out advantages. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre. Mr. Pierre, the Prime Minister is a lawyer. He say he know the law. I don't know how true it is. And he pay people who don't work. So it must be bribery. You understand? He say he's a lawyer, you know. But I don't believe he's a lawyer. He's a liar. You understand? And the people who don't work. So it must be bribery. And he's not supposed to do that. Thank you.
Yes, one of the talents and skills of the people who involved in law is words. That's where they're strong, the manipulation of words. And these people do quite a lot of research. Don't underestimate them. They are relatively well educated and they read the law and they are able to reference cases that take place in similar jurisdiction. So the Prime Minister knows what he is doing. Obviously, he is not one that is inclined to support the weak. He takes advantage on the elderly, the physically challenged, the disadvantaged, and the weak. And that's why I say the Prime Minister is like a vulture. It's the only political party in Grenada history that there seems to be a clear case where they take advantage on the elderly, the physically challenged, and the weak. Sometimes when we like a political party, we concentrate on the personalities and not on the history and the policy of the political party. So as long as you could remember the National Democratic Congress, they are associated with disadvantaging the marginalized people in our country. In 1990, we had a structural adjustment program. The NDC fired the workers on government estate. Those are about the lowest paid workers in the country, agriculture workers. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yes, caller.
Yeah. Mr. Pierre, if they can't give back the 150, it'll be fair for the $2,000 extra they had. If they give it up, people are going to say, well, look, they fair enough because the economic situation bad and it bad for everybody, so they return it back. But up to today, all this nice, all this car, nobody, they don't keep up the 2,000. Is that people might have still feel better, because people getting over $5,000-6,000 a month already, and they add two to it. And people getting just Africa $400 and $9,000 and take out from it. But no, you give up it, if you give up $2,000 extra, people might have still show a little sympathy. But I realize they don't care nothing about nobody. I realize that they don't care nobody. And some of them supporters, they enjoying that. And I heard one say, I think she's a contributor to your program, about people, somebody is glad they lose their job in Maclean Board because they get the money, they feel happy and they open some business. But I can swallow that one. That one will never be, because when morning as in issue hand now, and it's like on your max set, and it's just waiting for the gun to go off. You know. If you do about a whole thing of money big, it's all a ton. That gun, I know a man get a $600,000 from some relative overseas when he died. And he had that money. No, look at all the steel in the air. Where he said he do it. He just take the money, tell himself, well, the high enough money up, no, the steel power in the air like some missile in the air for the past few years, you know. But money just look big in hand, and it's time to turn the gun. So that they say, if they give you a little thing after marketing, but you can't say, well, I big money. That is just chicken feed. Before you turn, you see the economic situation, you see the prices of goods on the shelf. You see everything doubling, everything going up double. Not. I never seen nothing drop. You know. For since they cap the freight and the port or whatever, I don't see nothing drop. You know. I see things just starting to climb. You know. So Pierre, have a good weekend. Take care.
Yes, scholar, and sometimes it's difficult for us to expect the eagle to stop steal the chicken from the fowl, unless you could have the fowls together that prepared to defend themselves. And that's why I say to the woman whose child is being bullied, going in the school and crying and complaining is exposing your child more to bullying. Perhaps the best thing to do is to help the child to raise the confidence in themselves. Teach them talents. Teach them to have more skills and use other environment to help to protect them. To expect the National Democratic Congress not to bully is asking quite a lot. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr.
Yes,
Pierre.
scholar.
Mr. Pierre, what I find a lot of people crying out now about the Prime Minister. When you put a man what is a liar in power, what you expect? Few liar what have a conscience, you know. You don't know that? A liar, you know. So you have to expect anything from a liar. All right, have a good afternoon.
So in 1990, yes, scholar, welcome.
Hey, after Mr.
Yes,
Pierre.
scholar, welcome.
Hello. Yeah, Mr. Pierre, I'm speaking concerning the marketing board, right? Workers. You know, some people are saying that the worker gets a lot of money. A lot of money. Okay, but this you have to understand because some of the people who get money, they owe people. They may owe coach, they owe other places and things, and they have to pay the rent. So let's say if they get $30,000 and the loan that they took is over $25,000 or $20,000. What happened? That this trip now that they no longer working. Right? They don't have income coming in the hand again. Only that the money that they get, they have it put it in the bank. What will the bank do? Will the bank take out the $25,000 they owe to them? Right? Any financial institution, okay, if you're working again, I have to take my money. So then, if they get $30,000 and they have to pay $25,000, that only leave them with $5,000, right? And then the other $5,000 remaining, remember they have bills to pay. They have bills to pay. So within a month, that $5,000 are finished. So that if you have money, I will take that money, right? Taking money from what the $5,000 that you have. Eventually, within a month, I'm going to finish. But if you're working, okay, and you have working is much better because whatever money you have in any financial institution that will stay there and you're paying from your salary what you're getting. So I don't see the workers will be better and be happier. The man will be much happier when you know you work in and you have the same in the bank. If you say him stay there, but when he not working, every month he had to go and take off from that money. And then he still had to buy things for insurance to go to school. So that's when the finish as quick as possible. So I look at see how somebody say you cannot feel happy with that. When somebody be happy, when they know they have an income coming in every month, and not when they are every month or every day they're going to take out from an institution to buy food to pay their light bill. So that's my piece this morning.
Yes, scholar, there are some who want to deceive you. Individuals have a job. The government fired these people from the job. After the Prime Minister stood up and tell lies to the public and told them they're going to make them permanent. So they're going to be able to get loans in the bank. The Prime Minister turned his back and fired more than 1,500 workers in this country under 6 months. And the very people who jump up and say, if you get permanent, you will be better off, I say no, you're better off that you lose your job. That is what a vulture is, man. That is what a vulture is. That is what you call a fake. Somebody who says things and mislead you. And then, when you're in a worse position, still trying to justify it. And you have to go back to the history of the National Democratic Congress to understand that. In 1990, we had a structural adjustment program. And what they did, they fired the workers in the lower socioeconomic strata. The workers that are less likely to have discretionary income, saving, or relationship with the financial institution, the NDC fired them. During that period, they fired Shotty. He was a Californian, so I call his name. They used to call him Lord Tall. In 2008, the National Democratic Congress did the same thing. They fired the Imani that they promised to give $1,000. And they also refused to give the elderly, the older people, the physically challenged, $450 that they promised them. And you know what happened to the economy? The economy went in a tailspin. In 2022, the National Democratic Congress are doing the same thing but worse. Why worse? Because they purge the moderates in the party. And they have a whole set of hardliners. So again, they fire over 1,500 people. All the people they told lies to. They told them, we will make you permanent. If you go back to my programs around that time, you will hear me chastise them for deceiving the people. The Prime Minister, I said, is a fake. And now I'm convinced they act like vultures. They prey on the weak, the elderly, the physically challenged, the people in marketing board. They prey on them. The government has not presented an agriculture plan. So nobody knows where they're going. But 100 workers thereabout, from marketing board lost their jobs. They say they're going to close down marketing board. And then they say they're going to open up some little, have it open still. Maybe they are preparing it for the people they intended to hand over to. The National Democratic Congress always sell Grenada assets. They always do it. It was the very National Democratic Congress that cut down Belvedere nutmeg to plant banana. So there is some consistency and predictability with this government. They're always hostile. Now you have some of the supporters. They cannot defend the truth. They're embarrassed of the NDC policy. So they're getting very obscene and attacking you personally. Because the NDC do not have a policy that is in the interest of low-income people in our country. They never had. And from all indication, this country's economy would go into a tailspin. Because already you could see the economy, the private sector, that is generally not very aggressive private sector, cannot pick up any slack. They cannot employ the people that are fired. Because the economy is contracting. everything the government has done so far, it shocks the economy and it contributes to the contracting of the economy. And I think it's important for us to understand that. It's not about getting emotional. It's sitting down and holding discussion on the issues and understanding where we are heading. Remember, the Attorney General and the Minister of Labor, she said, let us be straight to the people. Let us be straight to the people. Or we're going to end up in serious trouble. Irreparable damage would be done to the economy. Do you believe that the Trade Union Council should summon its hierarchy to discuss the Minister of Labor concern? Where are we heading? We snub the financial institution in Barbados. Our relationship with Cuba, it seems as though we want to tar the relationship we have with Cuba. And the government of the day is purposely creating unemployment. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Very good program. Mr. Pierre, I just want to join you in the sentiments raised about the lower income bracket people. And I want to see that two political parties that has policies and create opportunities to empower the lower income bracket is the GLP party and the NNP party, and the records, they are straight. I never seen in my lifetime the NDC party has that policy to create that type of opportunities for that low income bracket people, and the records are there. And Mr. Pierre, when you hear every day, you hear people crying out, they got a letter, they've been sent home, and you're so correct, you're not hearing the unions talking about that. And when you hear the sufferings and so that, and the hardship among our less fortunate, the persons especially that benefited from the seed, and that 150 has been deducted, and up to now, you're not hearing anything about that. But I want to, ask God to give people like you and others to advocate on the people's behalf. And people, NDC never party that care for the poor and the working people. So be mindful of that. Thank you, Mr. P, and have a good weekend.
I think based upon we are not walking around. We ought not to walk around with our eyes closed. We're not supposed to pretend. The trade union leaders have disappointed us greatly. If the government is changing the contractual arrangement that they have with people in terms of pay, the people should be informed, because there must be negative or uncomfortable consequences. And if the union agrees with it, absolutely nothing is wrong with the union coming and tell the public, we believe it's a good idea, these are the disadvantages, we agree with it. If the union disagree with it, the union should say something. But if the union says silent, the union is abandoning its responsibility. Government have a contractual arrangement with people because they have been paying them in a particular manner for umpteen years. Nothing is wrong with changing it, but it must have fallouts. And as a result, that should be a relationship between the union and the government. The union said not a word. Government has fired the individuals involved in source up pest control program. The sauce-up industry is a very important industry to this country. Some farmers believe that the government is sabotaging the sauce-up industry. The union said not a word. Particularly in light of the concern of the Minister of Labor that it seems that we are heading to contribute irreparable damage to the economy. Government has not come up with any plan that people know about where they're going with agriculture. And while that is going on, you have individuals that are bullying people, children in school. The government is bullying the elderly. They're taking advantage on the elderly. The government informed them that it was going to get the $150. They remind them. And within a month, they took it away from them without notice. They shed tears in the street. It is not a question of money. The government met a treasury that was pregnant, and the government have money. That is why they could pay the workers from NIS so easily. That is why the government could continue their fiasco in traveling all over the world, and perhaps by now spend over $1 million in traveling. The government is not broken. The government is a vulture. The individuals pry on the weak. They are hostile to the low-income group. It's not because the country is in a bad financial position. Nothing the government has done indicated they have constraint where finances is concerned. This is a straight case of the government historical pattern of taking advantage on people in the lower income group. In 1990, in 2008, and in 2022. This is a pattern. The government, when they're in opposition, they plan and they create an attractive law, hoping that the marginalized, the unsuspecting, the new ones to history will support them. And immediately the government win. They double back and they become their own character and their own self. And they take advantage on these people. This is not right in a society. What you're going to have is increasing violence. And the people who live in gated communities, and you shut your mouth now, your children going to be the spouse of the children of the ghetto. See what is going on in Jamaica. Over 2 years now, there are some constituencies in Jamaica that are run under state of emergency. See what is going on in Trinidad. We are setting up this country to increase crimes, and all of us are guilty of it. When you have an increase in crime in Grenada, it's as a direct result of the government attitude. We have a war going on in Europe. We have the fallout from COVID-19. But the increased cost of living here in Grenada, this present government contribute to the increased cost of living. And they don't care. Because those who are so dismissive of those who low-income people, they have the money to get the basic food stuff. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, caller.
Mr. Pierre, the news yesterday said, or last night said, that the reporters try to get in touch with relevant authorities to find out who is the new board or who is the person that was on the temporary board. And it was nobody to explain to them. I wonder who they are asking. Because if you ask the Minister of Agriculture, the Minister of Agriculture cannot tell you. You have a farmer's representative in the Senate, he cannot tell you. Who did they ask? So I am believing that is a whole orchestrated thing. Just like it is the same thing with it was just say with the union. The union have not spoken out on it. So it appears that a lot of people gone to bed with the government, a lot of institutes gone to bed with them to the union, the minister not reporting. All they say that futile, but they ain't telling us who they speak to. Now, I think as that, shouldn't the Minister of Agriculture tell us? I think as that, shouldn't the union tell the farmers? So something is definitely wrong. There is a special orchestration to hold back information and bring it out when they think. You have a new organization. For that matter, they said 94 people were supposed to go home. At once they say 94, at once they say 92. The Prime Minister first told us 92. Then we hear 94. Then we hear 100 and something. Then we hear 70 people would be going home. So that means you're having about 20-something remaining. But you can't tell us who the 20-something? Something is wrong. This thing is too much in secrecy. Who are the persons that are staying, and that are the people that are staying? Would they be taken back as new employee? Are they continuing their employment? Because recently they had asked them, those who want to go. So there's so much thing that is being hidden. And I think our parliamentarians have to investigate that too. Like the members of the opposition and others, they have to investigate those matters. And it seems to me that the parliament opened that convenient now. So who should we question? I would like you to find out who should we question. The opposition, the ministers, the labor minister, the farmers representative. Who should we question? It appears that if you want to find out, you know nobody to ask. Thank you.
Yes, scholar, thank you. But sometimes we have to start to question ourselves first. You see, the National Democratic Congress have a history. They did the same thing in 1990 as what they do in 2008 and 22. The Prime Minister is a fake. The time has come and a number of the political activists hiding their face. We have one on my program here, Susu Salsa, and Jackson, Onisto Jose. They even shame to put their name and their picture. They write continuously on my program, and I welcome them. And I'll read some of the posts. But they're ashamed to put their face on the program. That is what you call a fake. When somebody writing on your program, but they're afraid to identify themselves. This is the Prime Minister of Grenada. You see, it's so easy for us to chastise, as the Minister of Agriculture said, idiots and lunatics. He was gallivanting in Parliament. Idiots and lunatics. Because he is speaking to the marginalized and the poor. I asked the brother how would he call the managers of NIS, bearing in mind that the trade union have representative on the NIS board. I don't agree with him, but I want to know how you're going to call them. But you see, they could only jump up on the poor, the unsuspecting and the marginalized. They're afraid to take on their big brothers that have a briefcase like certificate like them and are unable to solve problems. And that is the challenge in Grenada. The time has come for the Prime Minister, the Minister of Finance to be removed from the Ministry of Finance. He lost 70 million in Barbados because he snubbed the people. From the time over the last 7 months, over 1,500 workers lost their job. And he robbed from the elderly. He's continued to behave like a vulture, bullying the elderly, the weak, and the sick people. And the trade union has collaborated. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
They getting on, and don't worry, after Sunday convention, then you could know who marginalized and who ain't marginalized. All right, somebody try to get me.
Yes, thank you. You see, we cannot, Grenada have enough experience with the past. You had a situation in Grenada where over 3,000 Grenadians went to prison because they spoke out against the revolution experiment. 3,000 Grenadians. We passed the stage of having a media that you could intimidate. No politician supposed to feel confident that they could intimidate media personalities. I understand. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre?
Yes, caller, welcome.
How are you, sir?
Great, man.
Yeah, well, my little input, all right. What I see it, how I really see it is that, okay, you have the government and you have the opposition, right? I think what we should encourage, right? Tell me if I'm wrong here. What you think? I want to, go, like, encourage, discussion, engage each other, government and opposition. But it's like oil and water, why we cannot encourage more discussion because it's government and its opposition. They have to work together. They're part and parcel of the people. What I'm saying, I've been listening to this program for the longest while, Mr. P. No disrespect to you, sir, no disregard. Right, but it's like okay, it's like the past government has done nothing wrong, right? And it's like this government is it's like I don't know, and it's like
you find that this government has done nothing right.
Exactly. Well,
Caller.
I'm there. Yeah, I'm here.
When the previous government was in power. Did you not hear the government on a regular basis having interaction with the press, and also some of the people who oppose the government speaking on a regular basis?
I'm talking about the boat. Mitchell. Both of them.
I'm saying when the NNP was in power, did you not hear regular interaction with the press? Particularly after every cabinet meeting with the government?
But this thing's supposed to be an ongoing thing.
But scholar, do you believe now that Dick Mitchell should have regular contact with the press?
But it's supposed to be on.
Do you believe we should? And do you believe Dick Mitchell should give back the poor people the money you had from them? The $150?
The thing about it is, listen.
You don't agree you should give them back their money?
Because listen, I am hearing this thing on both sides.
Well, why you don't hear it on my side?
Because
since you hear it on both sides, take the third side.
Because hold on, listen. I like to be fair.
Caller,
right?
Caller.
I don't like to take those sides.
Caller.
I am here. Listen, I am hearing right that this $150 was given as an election ploy, right? That's what I heard.
Caller.
On the other hand,
Caller.
I don't know.
Caller.
Yes.
See if you could get an audience with any journalist, because we can't get it done, and ask the minister, the line minister Gloria Thomas, to defend that $150. Ask her to give explanation, reason why this $150 were removed from the people. Because she has not given one. The cost of living, is worse now than it was a year before. And the government remove $150 from the poor. We're not supposed to accept that. Caller.
But I am saying that, okay, I am talking about about one unique particular situation here. I'm talking about we should engage each other more on a more regular basis, right? I'm talking whether it's in whatever level or whatever aspect of the thing. We should engage each other. That is where unity could be found.
Right.
This is where togetherness and advancement
could
be found. No?
Yeah.
Instead of just one side staying and criticizing the other, and when the other government come in office again criticize, and it's only one way back and forth, and at the end of the day, nobody gets nowhere with these things.
Yes, caller, thank you.
Thank you, man. Right.
Yes, I understand the caller. The caller is correct. That is why we're on the radio begging Dick Mitchell to stop hide. You and the ministers stop hide. We believe that Lennox Andrew and Dennis Cornwall, two of the most experienced individuals, the press should address to them. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes. Now, this last caller there, what do you want to find out from we as a people? There's things that he's seeing is real and he's asking him questions. He's asking him some questions. And he's not answering the question, but he's asking question. Like he does not know, even though that the opposition is a minority in parliament, don't care what they would fight and try to say, if a government want to listen to them, the government will do whatever they please. You have to learn to understand that. It's not a matter that the opposition is not talking. I believe they are talking. But what he has to observe is what's taking place in real time. Don't be naive to it because things are happening. And if you go back and listen carefully as you've been saying, a union is to represent people. You see so much workers have been fired. You don't hear nothing from the union. You're hearing so much thing after that the government implemented. You don't hear the press reporting anything. You don't hear that people in authority comment. I mean, it's right in front of us. So we will try to ignore that. And it is the truth. It's not being political. It's the truth. And we must learn to face the truth. Speak about the truth. Because if it's good, it's going to be for all of us. And if it's bad, it's going to be for all of us also. Let's take it easy.
Yes, caller. Yes, thank you. And we're going to continue to ask the questions. We are not intimidated or sidetracked. Our interest is simple. I generally have a soft heart for politicians, but I think Dick Mitchell is a fake. I believe he deceived the marginalized people of the country. Dick Mitchell deceived the weakest group. And when individuals in a society, because they have tertiary education, and most of them have tertiary education that taxpayers pay for, they have a moral responsibility to help the less fortunate. I take strong objection with Tilaita Data and all the others who have university graduates. They have big jobs and they're turning up their nose at the less fortunate in the country. The people who Dick Mitchell removed $150 from are the poor of the poor. Elderly people, sick people. Some of them people say go and demonstrate. These people can't demonstrate. They're weak. If some of them come on the street, you got to have the ambulance to bring them. Some of their children are playing big shot, so they don't identify with them. They don't help in them. The minister or the line minister, Gloria Thomas, that is the descendant of Miss Joss, a powerful woman involved in the labor struggle. They turn on the elderly. Dick Mitchell has acted like a vulture, going after the elderly, the physically challenged, and the disadvantaged children. Who is going to speak about it? We have to. We who still prepare to identify with this group of people must speak, and we will continue. And this is the end of our program today. We with you next week again from Monday on another program of On Target, when you have an opportunity to punch, and we are not leaving the subject matter of the manner in which the NDC always hostile to the physically challenged, the marginalized, and disadvantaged children. They act like bullies, and we disagree. Thank you very much.